go ahead and get started. Mr. Gallimore, can you advance our slide for us, please? And Aurora, go ahead and explain how to do translation for those who need it.
Bienvenidos, buenas tardes a Adelante Latinos. Esta es una serie de presentadores por el mes de la herencia hispana. Les vamos a pedir que por favor hagan clic en el icono de interpretación y seleccionen español, por favor.
Did everybody else lose her sound too, or is it just me?
No, no. Now I'm going to turn your channel off. So thank you. Yes, no, we're ready to go. Thank you.
And next slide, please. Thank you so much. Thank you, Aurora, and thank you to GUSD for providing translation for us so we can have this event. We appreciate it. We are here tonight to kick off National Hispanic Heritage Month. It runs from September 15th to October 15th. And we are thrilled to offer this, our third annual speaker series. And we partner with Glendale Public Libraries. And we're so happy to have that partnership between Glendale Public Libraries, Glendale Latinos Association, Adelante Latinos, and all of our clubs and all of our schools. We are so fortunate to have this platform and many others. And I'd like to take a second and introduce our amazing superintendent, Dr. Vivian Ekchian, who's going to welcome us tonight.
Good evening, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here today for our 2022 Hispanic Heritage Month speaker series. I want to thank our amazing Adelante Latinos leaders for everything you do to advance and support the success of our Hispanic and Latinx students. And of course, enormous thanks to our illustrious speaker, Ms. Anita Quiñonez Gabrielian, that I think so well of. From the day I've started as a superintendent, I've been introduced to her, and she is just amazing. We're honored to be joined with such a dynamic and influential female leader. As a lifetime advocate for quality education and workforce readiness, and particularly as a former trustee for the Glendale Community College, Ms. Quiñonez Gabrielian has been a longtime partner in our district's efforts to prepare students for success in college, career, and life. I'm thrilled to have you, Ms. Quiñonez, with us today to share your passion and expertise with our Glendale Unified community, and particularly our students. So welcome.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ekchian.
And thank you, Dr. Ekchian. Mr. Gallimore, next slide. I just want to take a moment and thank all of our speakers who will be joining us over the next 4 weeks. We have 5 speakers coming to you, 1 a week, and we are just absolutely thrilled with the community members and people we were able to secure for you and for you to learn from. And I want to thank Jenny Quiñonez Skinner, Natalia Lewis, Marisol Cianello, Dr. Adriana Guerrero-Pastangi, GUSD Adelante Latinos, Glendale Latinos Association. And we have 2 new co-chairs for Adelante Latinos this year, Francesca Silva and Miguel Gonzalez, and our fundraising chair, Brenda Becerril. They just had a wonderful event last night at Los Gringos Locos in La Cañada for a fundraiser and our first Adelante meeting. So thank you for doing that. Again, another shout out for our Glendale Public Libraries. And our student moderator tonight, before I hand it off, is Giovanna Aldez, like I said, from Crescenta Valley High School. She is going to introduce our speaker tonight, and she is going to be the one to ask the questions afterwards. So if you have any questions while Ms. Quiñonez Gabrielian is speaking, write them in the Q&A box, and then Giovanna will go through them and group them together, and she will be able to ask those questions once Ms. Quiñonez Gabrielian finishes, okay? So thank you so much. Giovanna, I'm handing it over to you until we get to the end, and have a wonderful evening. Thank you, Anita.
Thank you, Christine.
Thank you. So we're gonna start by presenting the speaker, Anita Quiñonez Gabrielian. She's the president and CEO of Gabrielian and Associates Insurance Services and former Glendale Community College Board of Trustee member. Anita Quiñonez Gabrielian is president and CEO of Gabrielian and Associates Insurance Services. Prior to joining the insurance industry, she had a long and distinguished career at AT&T, where she was hired to go back to school to become a network design engineer. She excelled at engineering and advanced through various positions in operations management, planning, and interdepartmental project coordination. In an era marked by major public policy changes, she was promoted to Regional Vice President of External Affairs for the Los Angeles market area, a position she held until her retirement in 2014. Anita earned a Bachelor of Science degree from USC Marshall School of Business and an MBA from Cal Poly Pomona. Supporting accessible quality education and workforce readiness is one of her passions, and that is why she truly enjoyed serving as a trustee for GCC for 15 years, including 3 terms as president of the board. She also served mayors Villaraigosa and Garcetti on the LA Workforce Investment Board. Anita has served our community in many other prominent roles, including chairwoman of the board of Glendale Memorial Hospital and the San Gabriel Valley Economic Partnership. She is a city commissioner serving as vice chair of the Community Development Block Grant Committee for Glendale. Anita also serves on the GUSD's Adelante Latinos Committee and on the advisory board of HOPE, Glendale Latino Association, and Cal State LA's Pat Brown Institute for Public Affairs. She is also a proud member of Seroptimist International of Glendale and a founding member of Kiwanis of the Verdugos. Anita is honored to be serving her second 2-year term as chair of the board of the Mexican American Opportunity Foundation. Anita has been recognized by many community leaders and organizations for her contributions. She was honored as a Woman of the Year by Congressman Adam Schiff, the California State Assembly and Senate, the Glendale Chamber of Commerce, Business Life Magazine, the Glendale Latino Association, the Glendale WYCA, Women at Work, and others. Anita ran for Glendale City Council in the most recent election, and although she did not win a seat, she gained new friendships, insights, and an amazing growth experience. She proudly says that her most important and rewarding role is being a mom. She and her late husband, Leo, raised 3 wonderful daughters. Besides all loving soccer and traveling, they are a USC family. They are also an Armenian Nicaraguan American family. Please help me welcome Anita, a successful immigrant from Nicaragua.
Thank you so much, Giovanna Aldaz. That was a beautiful introduction. And thank you for saying it so well. And again, good evening, Dr. Vivian Ekchian, all members and supporters of Glendale Latino, of Adelante Latinos. And it's beautiful to be here, especially as your kickoff speaker for Hispanic Heritage Month, which runs from September the 15th to October the 15th. So because I'm the kickoff speaker, I'd like to give a little bit more background about why it is that we recognize, celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month in our country. I think it is a great opportunity to recognize, celebrate, and educate everyone about the contributions that Hispanics, Latinos, Latinx make to our beautiful country. Let me just say that we are a nation of immigrants. I am a proud immigrant from Nicaragua. Immigrants have contributed greatly to build this country, and just as we are celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month, many other ethnicities celebrate as well. There's the Asian Pacific Islanders, Jewish American, Italian American, Irish American, their African American History Month, and of course, Native American Heritage Month. We are all immigrants except the Native Americans who were here for many centuries before us. So This is our month. This is our month to celebrate. And it started back in 1963 when President Lyndon Johnson, I think you can go back, not yet. You're going too fast. When President Lyndon Johnson announced and recognized the contributions Hispanics make to this country with a week for Hispanic Heritage Month. And then President Ronald Reagan expanded it to an entire month because a week was just not enough. So we have been doing that ever since. And why September the 15th to October the 15th? Well, today it marks the Independence Day of 5 Central American countries: Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, Nicaragua, and Costa Rica. Tomorrow, September the 16th, is Mexico's independence. And then on the 18th is Chile, and so on and so forth. So this was the perfect time to do that. Hispanics and Latinos are the nation's largest ethnic minority, with ties to more than 20 Latin American countries in Central America, South America, and the Caribbean, and of course, Mexico. I think, as you can see, we come in all varieties. We are Black, we are brown, we are blonde and blue-eyed. It really, you cannot say this is the typical Latino, although many of us, the majority, are like me. We are mestizos, which means that we are a mix of our Spanish ancestors and our indigenous Native American ancestors. And so many of them do, most of them are brown, just like me. I want to talk a little bit about these terms: Hispanics, Latinos, Latinx. For the longest time, it has been Hispanics, and it continues to be Hispanic. That term, according to a couple of university studies and a Pew Center study, is the most recognized and what people of this ethnicity feel more comfortable with. Others, Latinos or Latina. Latino is male, Latina is female. So Hispanics, Latinos, or Latinx. Now, the latest studies, and there were 2 universities and the Pew Center study, who said that Latinx is accepted or preferred, accepted by everybody, all of them are accepted, but preferred by 2 to 3%. Hispanics and Latinos are pretty much interchangeable, and I am fine with any of those 3. I did want to say that Hispanic traditionally means that you are from a country that is Spanish speaking. So all Hispanics are Latinos, but not all Latinos are Hispanics, because Latinos means you are from a Latin American country. And in South America, we have Brazil, and they speak Portuguese. Okay, now we can go to the next slide. It looks boring, but it's very meaningful. I haven't seen this year's proclamation from the White House, but when people ask me what are some of the contributions that Latinos have made, there are many. But I really think that this sentence, which is the beginning of the White House's and President Biden's presidential recognition of Hispanic Heritage Month, captures it really well. Now, the sentiment is beautiful, but it's not, some of it is wishful thinking. So what I've done is I highlighted in gray where we need a lot more work, and in yellow where we're excelling. So I'm going to read it really quickly. During National Hispanic Heritage Month, we recognize that Hispanic heritage is American heritage. We see it in every aspect of our national life. on our television and movie screens, and we need to see more of that, in the music that moves our feet, and the foods we enjoy. And we do see an awful lot of that. I'm sure that for many of us, we have been enjoying music from, Roberto Carlos and Juan Gabriel and Mark Anthony. Well, for the younger generation, they may be listening to this. We're talking about Mariah Carey and Cardi B and Bad Bunny. But I mean, that we excel in the music. And of course, the food we enjoy is tremendous, whether it's great Mexican food or Puerto Rican, Cuban, etc. It is delicious. Or my favorite, Argentinian empanadas. But let me continue. We benefit from the many contributions of Hispanic scientists. We need to have more Hispanic scientists in order to truly represent the population of Latinos in this country. They're working in labs across the country to help us fight COVID-19, and the doctors and the nurses, we need more of those on the front lines caring for people's health. Now, I highlighted front lines in yellow because the majority of Latinos right now in this country are in the service industry, and many of them are essential workers, whether it's in the fields, in agricultural fields, in restaurants, in wherever they are, they're on the front line. So we have many of those. Our nation is represented by Hispanic diplomats who share our values in countries all over the world, and strengthened by military members and their families who serve and sacrifice for the United States. And that's very true. And many times our youth joins the military because it's a clear way of serving, it's a clear way of learning, and it's a way of later having additional help with college. So, but there are, and that's an incredible sacrifice we have to be very grateful for. Our communities are represented by Hispanic elected officials. Well, in California and all around us in LA, that's true, but in many other places, it's not. And so we need to see more elected officials. And our children are taught by Hispanic teachers. There are a lot of teachers that are Hispanic. I think it's up to like 41% in the LA County area. And so but everywhere else, we need to continue to do more work. Our future will be shaped by Hispanic engineers who are working to develop new technology that will help us grasp our clean energy future, and by the skilled union workers who are going to build it. We have so much opportunity, and we've done a lot, but we are not there yet. So how do we get there? Well, first, let's go on to the next slide. Let's see a little bit about where we are right now. By the numbers, as of the census data, we are 62.1 million Hispanics, or 19% of the US population. Almost a fifth of the total US population is Hispanic. We are the nation's largest and fastest growing ethnic minority. A few years ago, they said that, 2 states had 20% of the kindergartners in their state were Hispanic. Well, we are now at almost 20 of those states with 20% of the kindergartners Hispanic. So the growth is exponential. And it is right now the largest ethnic group in 2 states, California and New Mexico. It's so important to grasp this, because as Hispanics go so does our community, so does our state, so does our country. So we've got to do better. A couple of other numbers that I think are really important, because 2020 was a horrible and a very challenging year for so many people. In 2020, the poverty rate for Hispanics increased by 1% to 11.4%. For Hispanics, the number one cause of death in 2020 was COVID-19. And it goes back again to the fact that they were essential workers. Many were essential workers. But some of the good things, buying power of Hispanics is almost $2 trillion. That is an incredible force. So for businesses, for huge companies, for advertisers, Hispanics is somewhere where you should be, and they are spending a lot and investing a lot of money in. And one thing that's really important, I think, as a proud Latina, Latinas create new businesses at a rate 6 times faster than any other group. So that's where we are right now. How can we improve, and what can make this better? And for me, as an education advocate and somebody who believes that education is the cornerstone of success, the next slide, please. I think these 3 things are incredibly important to securing greater success. Higher education, but not, it could be a certificated program, registered nurses, our EMTs, our firefighters. I mean, there's so many computer-aided design, so many certificated courses for areas where there are growing jobs. There's a demand for jobs. Higher education alone is not enough. You've got to get out there and work. So one of the things that we do need is more jobs for our youth and internships. When you are going through college, the first thing you should ask for when preparing in the summer is, let me go out and work, maybe between freshman and sophomore year work. And after that, look for good internships and, of course, mentors. I think mentors, whether you are don't be a thorn on their side, but be there with your counselors at school. Be there with your favorite professors. Make sure that you take advantage of their office hours. They're getting paid. And so many professors I know say, my office hours are here and nobody came today. Take advantage of that time. Schedule it. Talk to your professor. And search out other mentors. And how do you do that? Well, join organizations in college that will expose you to maybe professionals that come in as you are deciding what it is you're going to be in this life. Good work ethics, integrity is it's necessary, it's essential. I believe in karma, and believe me, it comes back to get you. So whatever decision and whatever move you make, just do the right thing. Believe, do your analysis, search your mind, meditate, but always make sure that you do the right thing and search for balance. I think in life you have to, for me, what worked for me, because I had a very busy professional life and family as well, was really looking for balance between work and family, school and family, school, family, and enjoyment, vacationing, partying, and spirituality. Whether you're religious or you just need to meditate, you've got to seek that and keep healthy, stay healthy. And then finally, you can have a good education. You can search for internships, and hopefully you'll find them. You can surround yourself with mentors. You can have really great work ethics. But if you're surrounded by an environment that is not welcoming, that is not supportive, that doesn't provide the things you need, it's going to be easier to fail. So resources for success are essential. And that's where policy comes in. And that's where you need to go and vote so that funding, policy and funding can be directed to education, can be directed towards supporting additional counselors, additional funding for people who cannot pay for higher education themselves, for books, for all the things that we need. And I have to say, when you vote, you have to be an informed voter. Please do your homework and search out things that help me. I remember when I had to vote the first time, it looked like gibberish. I had no idea. Read your pamphlet, read the voter's guide. Now it's easier than ever. You can Google so many things and find out, what does this truly mean? Who's supporting it? Who's against it? And don't go by just the commercials. I mean, right now, there's a great example. Every other minute, there's a commercial about Proposition 27, Proposition 26, and whether or not it's really going to help the indigenous American Indian tribes or not. Well, read it. Proposition 27 and 26 are both deal with online gambling. So if you don't even want to have online gambling, obviously it's a no for both of them. But if you do, find out which one is best, or if you want to take a chance, read up on it, because they totally confuse you. Another very important campaign or another strategy is to go to organizations that you trust and you believe in. Because I'm an education advocate and a champion for work readiness, the Campaign for College Opportunity for me is an amazing organization. And you go to their website and you find out a little bit about what they're advocating for, because what they want is success, more successful college graduates. They look for the funding and the resources that will help universities and colleges promote and provide the resources that our students need so that they can have equity in learning. I have to tell you that among some of the propositions that they are supporting is Proposition 16. And I think Proposition 16 it may open doors for and provide opportunity to many Latinos. So I know that I'm supporting Proposition 16, and please, this is not an ad, and believe me, this is not, the people that are helping me be on this have no opinion on Proposition 16 at this moment. So it's just go read it yourself and make up your mind. But Proposition 16 is important. Now, I want to tell you why I think I align with the Campaign for College Opportunity, and why I listen to their data. They conduct polls, they conduct research, they have experts who come back and do their homework so that it's easier for us. But if we ensure that more people and more Latinos, we're talking about Latinos right now, and how big and how impactful they are in our community, in our state, and in our country. So if we ensure that more are able to complete a college or a certificate education, we will be building a workforce that is ready to maintain a strong and vibrant economy. So it's good for the person, it's good for the family, it's good for the community, and it's good for the overall state and country, because they are going to be the engine that helps us keep this economy vibrant. I think the next slide, please. I wanted to talk a little bit about my own journey and my background. So as you can see, I am from Nicaragua, the land of lakes and volcanoes in Central America. Our neighbors to the north are Honduras, and to the south is Costa Rica. And today is Independence Day, and it's being celebrated throughout Central America. Let's see. I lost my place here, but I want to tell you a little bit more about me, and that should be easy. I came from Nicaragua with my parents when I was 2 years old. My sister was 6 months old, and we came here because my mother got a wind that my dad was involved in one of the early Sandinista insurrections. And our aunts and grandparents were already over here. My mom did not want to move here. She had a business of her own over there. But when she got wind of this, she called them up and they started working on our visas, and we got our green cards came to Managua. We're one of the lucky immigrants who had relatives here that were doing well. They were factory owners here, and they sponsored my parents and provided jobs for them. So we had our green cards arrive at the American Embassy in Managua, and we were on a plane and came over here 1 week before the insurrection. Unfortunately, my uncles, I had one uncle and a couple of my dad's first cousins and many friends who spent 2 years as political prisoners in Nicaragua. So we were incredibly grateful and lucky that we got to leave before November the 11th. 1 week before November the 11th, we landed at LAX and started our journey to the American dream here. I want to tell you a little bit more about Nicaragua, though. What you see here is it is part of a satirical play called El Huehuense. And the reason I want to say that is because UNESCO proclaimed this as a masterpiece of the oral and intangible heritage of humanity in 2005. And it is the only country in Central America that has a masterpiece proclaimed by UNESCO, and one of 6 countries in South America who has a masterpiece proclaimed by UNESCO. It is the very earliest satirical oral history of post-Columbian history, and it is a play that pretty much talks about the forceful expression of the colonial rule. So you see some of the Indians that have the very white faces and blue eyes painted, and some of the Indians that also dress up. And it's an amazing story. Nicaragua is full of folklore, dancing, music, plays. And I love to visit my family that is still there, and to go in January because it's the feast of Saint Sebastian. And that's exactly where the folklore really explodes. And they pretty much close down for 2 weeks, and we have parades and plays and folkloric dancing, and whoever hosts that year provides food. And so it's a very expensive thing, but it's beautiful. Dancing, music, and so forth. It's just integral to Nicaragua and to many of our Latin American countries. So the next one, please. The next slide. Okay, so we came here in search of freedom and opportunity, and you can see this is just a little collage of some of the pictures that depict some of that. We were the very top left one there with my mom and dad, and we were little. My sister and I only have one sister, and her name is Maria, and I'm Anita. And don't tell me, I think somebody mentioned West Side Story on there. I don't know if my parents saw that, but it wasn't because of that. I am named after my grandmother, and my sister is named after our other grandmother. So that's how that happened. We came here in search of freedom and opportunity. My father completed his GED here because they did not recognize his high school diploma from Nicaragua. So he did it all over again and graduated. He actually attended Los Angeles Community College, Los Angeles City College, and started his own business with my mom, who is a very talented dressmaker. She a seamstress, dressmaker, designer, and for 25 years they had a factory in downtown Los Angeles. The Sandinista Revolution happened a few years after we were here. So I think it happened maybe 17 years or so after that. And so we're still very much impacted by that. My parents had a home over there that was burnt down during the Sandinista Revolution, and my father went back to rebuild it. And during that summer, my sister and I was in college, my sister was graduating from high school, and we helped my mother run the factory. And I got the most experience from working full time and doing that than probably a whole year in business school. So work is essential. I graduated from USC, as you heard my bio, and I have an MBA from Cal Poly. Those are my parents much later on my wedding day. And then on the right, I have my aunts and uncles, my cousins, and my best friends. And my mother used to say, "Dime con quién andas y te diré quién eres." And that just means pretty much whoever you hang with, that's who you are. And many people now have said it in many different ways. You are the 5 people that you hang the most with, that you spend the most time with. So let's see. I don't know if that's a note from me. Okay, I'm going to continue because I'm looking at the time and we have 20 minutes left, and I want to just wrap it up. Next slide, please. After I graduated from USC, I worked for Pacific Bell. Pacific Bell is one of the baby bells that was part of the AT&T system. And I think, as you know, the telecommunications industry, it was amazing, and it went through the breakup and then mergers and acquisitions, and it was a beautiful and rewarding career of 33 years. I had been working for AT&T already when I married my husband, Leo. Now, Leo Gabrielian is an Armenian. He was born in Yerevan, and he's an immigrant just like I am. We were from different parts of the world, but when we met each other and we saw our priorities, we were so much alike. I really, truly believe people just have to get to know each other, to appreciate, respect, and trust each other. And I think trust is one of the most important things, whether it's a personal relationship, your work, school, it's an amazing thing. So you should always do what you say you're going to do. That's our wedding picture. And this is my family. I'm the proud mom of 3 amazing young women. They all went into the sciences. Our oldest daughter has a doctorate in behavioral health management. And our next one, the middle daughter is a doctor of psychiatry. She's actually in her 3rd year of residency, and she's going to have to do another year so that she can specialize in psychiatry, and I hope come back to California. And our youngest has a master's in aerospace engineering from Georgia Tech. They all went to USC, just like their dad and me and my sister. We're a USC family. I believe, one of the other things that I do is I stay involved in our community and I serve. I love to serve. One of my highlights is being a trustee on the Glendale Community College Board of Trustees. And you can see that's the last picture there as well. And we have some Adelante Latinos and Glendale Latino Association members there as well. The next picture, because I just want to quickly say so that we have time for any questions and answers you might have. I sometimes, and I know that when usually it's a part of maybe a icebreaker, etc., people ask you to write down what are the 2 or the 6 most important things in your life. And this is a collage of what's important for me. And I start with, freedom. And, we have the Statue of Liberty, and that just means a great deal to us as immigrants. I have responsibility, and I'm, the picture with the plants, and it's a responsibility. Responsibility is important. You are the only one responsible for yourself, your actions, your choices in the end. And we have to be responsible and leave things better than we found it. And I couldn't find a better idea than, taking care of our planet and our environment. The next one is justice. You can do the best you can, but if you don't have an environment and a society that is fair to you and to everyone in it, we're going to have problems. Below that, for me, respect. I think respect is important. Respect for others. One of my values comes from Benito Juarez, and I think it was definitely my parents who also felt this way. El respeto al derecho ajeno es la paz. And what that means is respect for others' rights means peace. And so, that as well as freedom is, I think, a cornerstone for me of, respecting choice. People have to make their own choices. We don't walk in their shoes. We can't see how they see things. And so I have judgment. There's got to be teaching and an environment without so much judgment in it. And then the next one is love. For me, love is amazing. Love of others, love of self, take care of yourself. My mom always said, primero yo, después yo, y por último yo. And that means first me, then me, and finally me. And it really dawned on me, what she was saying is love yourself, because if you don't love yourself and you don't take care of yourself, you're not going to be able to be there to love and take care of others. And then finally, family. Family first, family, your home. One of my favorite sayings comes from Mother Teresa. If you want world peace, start at home. So start at home, then start with your family, start with your extended family, your community, your city, and the world. it's been amazing to have you guys just listen to me and to give me this opportunity to share with you my Latin American background, heritage, my journey, and a little bit more about Hispanic Heritage Month. And thank you. If you have any questions, thank you, y adelante. That's right. We got to go forward. I'm available.
Okay, so the first question is, have you always wanted to be a politician? What inspired you to go into public service?
Well, thank you. You know what? I don't see myself as a politician. I did not even, I'm a mom, I'm a public servant, I'm a volunteer, I am a Latina. I didn't think of myself as a politician, but let me tell you, because I have been elected, I've been elected and served for 15 years as an elected official at Glendale Community College. I suppose that makes me a politician. So I'm gonna say it happened by chance. I was very involved in the community. I was on the board of the of Glendale College Foundation, the YWCA, the Chamber of Commerce, and several other organizations. And unfortunately, one of the trustees passed away. And I got a call from Mayor Frank Quintero at the time, and also the superintendent of the college. And they said, please put your name in there. And I really, I thought, if you need me, sure. Well, but you can only serve for 1 year. And I said, no problem. I don't even, I'm just here to help. And so I made the promise not to serve anymore. And 6 months later, they said, please run. And that's how I started. So you've got to be prepared, maybe but be intentional. I was not intentional about going into politics, but you can be intentional if you want to. Be intentional and, volunteer on campaigns for your local city council members or assembly members, etc. Get in there and roll up your sleeves and see what it's all about. But also study public policy, I think.
The next question is, who is your main inspiration?
My main inspiration for a long time, and at my earlier life, was my parents. I've never met, I think, hardworking, loving, honest people, very fair people in my life, and I love them, and I was just blessed to have them as parents. And I think now my biggest inspiration are my 3 daughters. They challenge me. They challenge me to stay active. They challenge me to think outside the box. They challenge me to look at the environment and see how our world is changing, and also just to understand more about healthcare and the sciences, etc. Thank you.
I have a question. I wanted to ask, what motivated you to major in business and go all the way to get your MBA?
Thank you. Actually, it was a teacher in high school, and Mrs. Cotton, I will never forget her. I took accounting in high school, and I think I hats off to teachers, because they know the effect they're having on you. And so when you have a good teacher and they inspire you to choose. And anyway, I loved accounting. So I decided, okay, where am I, first of all, with my parents, it wasn't, are we going to go to college or not? It was where we were going to go to college. That was the question. And so I love that. Always ask just that question. Where are you going to go to college? And what am I going to study? Well, I think I'd like to study accounting, which means I've got to go to the business school. So I went to USC Marshall School of Business, and I found out that in my third year that I really didn't love accounting. I liked accounting and I did bookkeeping for my dad's company, but I didn't love it. So I decided to have a double major, and I went with finance. So I have both finance and accounting and just a general MBA as well.
Anita, thank you so much. We still have a couple minutes. Would you mind speaking to them? Because I know a lot of our students like to provide service in the community. How did you get involved with the Seroptimus Club and the Kiwanis and Glendale Latinos Association? I think you might have been a founding member of GLA. I could be wrong on that, but
I'm very close to it, but they had founded it, and I got involved. I was recruited in the founding year, but I was not a founding member. So I feel honored, to have been here for such a long time. But sometimes we have to move on, right? But there are some organizations that you love and you stay. So that's GLA for me. So for me, it was a two-pronged.
I was saying, how did you get involved in those?
Yes, it was a two-pronged approach, or, it happened to me. I, as a freshman, got a small scholarship from USC, and it was mandatory that you volunteer in the surrounding schools. And I loved it. So I fell in love with volunteering, and I continued to do that. But the other part of it is, when I worked at AT&T, I started out as an engineer, and I did planning, coordination. Along the line, they recruited me to government affairs, so government and community affairs. Then it became part of my job. And when I landed in that job, I thought, this is it. They're paying me to do what I love to do. So for many years, that's what I did. I represented my company in the community. So some I reached out and did because I wanted to do it. Others I did because I was representing an amazing company. And it's incredibly rewarding, and you learn so much, because I think it's the people that, know and have something to give that are at the forefront of all the volunteering. And believe it or not, I think I see the same 100 people all over the place, and I wish more people volunteered, because they would really find out how valuable an experience it is. It's a very growing experience.
And can you explain to us, what is the Seroptimus Club?
Seroptimus International of Glendale is an organization by women for women whose purpose is to improve and provide resources for young women. We have two key programs: Be It, Live It, where we open up the doors of mentoring to young women so that they can find out and have a clearer picture of what type of career they would like to go into. And the other one is Live Your Dream, and that is for women who need help, need a boost, and they are underserved, etc. And we provide the resources for that as well. And there are so many other organizations. I'll tell you, like the Mexican American Opportunity Foundation, who I'm proud to be fourth year as chairwoman of that. It's one of the largest nonprofits in the country, and certainly in the state of California. And we have one of the longest running National Latina Women's Conferences, and it's targeted towards high school girls, and it's a whole day of workshops. Maybe it's careers in STEM, it's writing, it's preparing your resume, it's dress for success, and it's on-the-spot mentoring, because we always recognize at least 2 or 3 amazing women leaders in the community that they can learn from.
I'm so glad you talked about that, because you brought that up to me before, and I always forget the contact, but we would love to promote that event. I know,
Great.
At least in my school, but I'm sure in the district as
It's
well.
in May. I'll let you know.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Please do. And Giovanna, thank you for doing a wonderful job tonight. We'll see you next week. And
Thank
Anita,
you, Giovanna.
I cannot thank you enough. You did an amazing job of explaining all the pieces of identity that I know my own daughters struggle with too, and in the history and the data, as well as your own story. Just so touching, and thank you so much for sharing with us tonight. I really do appreciate it. We have 2 more minutes. Are there any other questions from the from the participants?
I just wanted to thank Miss Anita Quiñonez Gabrielian again. I enjoyed everything that you shared, and there's so much that we can identify with. And I hope our students learned a lot from your experience. Appreciate you very much.
Thank you. It was my pleasure. Thank you.
Yes, so thank you to everyone. Dr. Ektian, thank you so much. I did want to shout out, we have a couple people in the audience. I know that Principal Perla Chavez Fritz from Roosevelt is in the audience, and Beatrice Bautista, our Director of Special Ed, and Sandra Dermish-Ropian, one of our teachers at Crescenta Valley, and Christine Nam, our Public Information Officer at the district, and Carla Vasquez Gonzalez is in the audience too. We love all of you. We're so thankful for you all to be here. Please, 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 next week, Mr. Gallimore, Mr. Hernandez, who do we have coming up next week? Oh, we have, first we want to push the Glendale Dia de los Muertos on Saturday, November 5th. That is just every year an amazing time. Last year I wasn't able to go because our family was sick, but this year I'm hoping that we'll all be healthy and we'll get to go.
And Mrs. Benitez, if I could add, Guillermo Garcia from the library is also in attendance tonight.
Thank you.
Hi, Guillermo. Thank you for being here.
And thank you to the library for helping to partner with us on this event. And next week we have Dr. Carlos Haro, who is just incidentally the father of the president of our GLA, but he is just an amazing professor emeritus from Anita's rival school, UCLA. But he is just a consummate expert on Chicano studies, was at the walkouts in the previous century in LA, and just knows so much, and we are so thrilled. He actually did a little bit of a little lecture for GLA for us about a year or 2 ago, and I said, oh, we have got to get Dr. Haro to come and speak to our students. So we're thrilled to host him next week. Please join us again, like I said, once a week for the next 4 or 5 weeks. We'll be here. I can't tell you how important representation is. I can't tell you how important it is to hear all of our Latinx voices in our community. We are strong, we are proud, and we are so lucky to live in a community that is so diverse and that is so open to all cultures and ethnicities. So thank you, Anita. Thank you, GUSD. Thank you to everybody for being here. We'll see you next week. Have a great week.
Bye.